This is The Road Show, and I'm your host, David Warren. Today is Therapy Day with our friend Kim Harr, a licensed professional counselor and a licensed marriage and family therapist. Our topic today is multiple, as we are calling this Hot Topics Part 2. Kim and I will be discussing more of the most common issues that she helps her clients with at There's Hope Counseling. At this time, let's welcome back our friend, Kim Harr.
Hello, David. It's so good to be here.
Oh, you've got a big old smile on your face. You love coming to the Road Show.
I do.
Well, all right. So there are 5 hot topics. Mm-hmm. And the reason why there are 5, and we covered 2.5 of the 5 on part 1, which is archived, by the way, and this show is archived as well. So we're going to combine them in the Roadshow section of oasisnetwork.org. So listen all this hour, and then you can go back and hear the first hour that we did together. But there are 5 topics, and what happened was Kim pitches ideas for topic of the month. Mm-hmm. And so you had pitched 5 topics that you encounter, well, on a daily basis, some of them, and every week basis on the others. And I said, I think they're all good. So why don't we just do all of them, call them hot topics, and we'll see how far we get. And again, we got through 2.5 of the 5. We'll finish those up today. But what are the 5 hot topics?
All right. The 5 hot topics are emotional cutoff, overfunctioning, which can lead to burnout, boundary struggles, unfinished business, and when you can't fix it. What do you do when you can't fix it?
When you can't fix it. All right. That's coming up on today's Road Show, but we like to start our programs together with a Hardy Har Har story as Kim's newest last name, because it was N's for many years. It's Har, H-A-A-R. So that just lends itself with her personality and the new last name to a Hardy Har Har story. And I have asked for one regarding the grandkids in your household. You have 3 now. Actually, they don't live, well, they might.
No, they don't.
I don't know. You guys love them so much you might kidnap those grandkids.
Oh, we do love them. We love them dearly. You know, it's funny that you asked about a grandbaby story, because this last weekend, I had the opportunity to have 2 of my grandbabies. They're both girls, and one of them is 5, one is 3. My 5-year-old is going through a little bit of separation anxiety from her mom. And so I had sent a text and I said, hey, would they like to spend the night? And the 5-year-old wasn't too sure about that. She was like, oh, no, she didn't want to be gone from mom. And so the parents left, went out for dinner. And I think it was like maybe 2 hours, and I began like tracking the parents on the phone coming back, because I was so tired after playing. I mean, 5 and 3-year-old, they have so much energy. And I put him in my bathtub in my bathroom, and we have a jacuzzi tub. And so I told them, I put on the little bubbles, and I said this was the bathtub ocean. And so they got to play in the bathtub ocean, and so their parents came to pick them up. And I could tell my daughter was like, are you sure you don't want to spend the night? Because she's wanting them to spend the night. They would love a break, just the 2 of her and her husband. And I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. We can do it next time. And so it was this, I absolutely adore them. We're getting ready to go on vacation with all 3 grandbabies. So this is going to be our first vacation together. So I'll have something to report next time.
Well, you went to Disney World.
With 2.
Oh, okay.
Now we're bringing the 3rd, an 18-month-old baby.
All right. Can you share where you're going?
Yes, we are going to Seaside in Florida. My husband and I, we rented a big home, and we told all of our kids, we'll pay for the home. You guys all come and do what you want. And I've already been getting information that, oh, well, when you watch this baby, so this couple can go out to eat. And then when I watch these 2, I'm thinking, I'm going to be babysitting. But we're looking forward to it.
Loving every minute of it.
We love being a grandparent.
We're going to play a new song by a man named Mark Bishop, and it's called Grandkids. And when I heard it, I thought of you. and our hundreds, maybe thousands of grandparents listening that love their grandbabies just as much as you love yours.
That's right.
So we're going to dedicate that song. And if you're hearing the podcast of this, you'll need to go listen to the archive on our website, oasisnetwork.org, because you can't include music on podcasts. Did you know that?
No, I did not know
Yeah,
that.
it's a rule. So
Why?
you'll have to take that up with other powers.
Oh, okay. For some reason, it makes me really want to have a song on a podcast
Well, it's a music licensing issue.
now. Okay.
It's a music licensing issue. But see, we here at Oasis, we pay the music licenses. There are 3 of them at BMI, ASCAP, CSAC, and then we pay Sound Exchange for the streaming. And that would include what we put on our website in the archive. So, yeah. Just if you thought that it was free for us to play music, you would think that...
I did.
See, you would think that people would want their music played
Yeah.
so you could buy it.
Right.
Well, no, we pay for that. Well, let me say this in a different way. Our Watchman donor family helps us pay for the music licensing fees.
Boy, that's good to know, because I did think it was just like you said, is that the artist will just like send you their music so you play it so that people buy it. So I really did. I thought it was just all free.
Well, now you know.
Thank you, Watchmen.
Thank you, Watchman. That's right, Kim. Okay, so your grandma name is Grandma, right?
It is.
So sometimes the grandkids, like certain ones, though, deviate and call you something
Yes.
else. So is it Grandma, Grandma, Grandma for all 3 so
It is
far?
Grandma, Grandma, Grandma.
Okay. Well, knowing that we would play this song, I did a Google search on traditional and popular grandparent names. And so Grandma and Grandpa are classic English names for grandparents.
Okay.
Because you're classic.
Let me guess some of them. I'm going to guess there's like a Mimi. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. There might be I've heard Glamma. I don't know if that's on there, but
It's not here, but it should be.
I've heard Glamma for the one that doesn't want to be known as a grandma. I've heard some recent ones of Lolly is actually.
That's cute.
It's like the grandma will be Lolly and the grandpa will be Pop. So it's like Lolly and Pop.
Cute.
All right. What are the other ones?
Well, there are Nana and Papa, which are popular and affectionate alternatives. And then Granny and Granddad, which are common in the UK and some English-speaking regions. You know, the princes, William and Harry, called Queen Elizabeth II Granny.
Really? No, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
so now I know that wasn't being
Yeah,
rude. That's
right.
just common in the UK, United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Grammy and Gramps, I don't like those.
Okay.
Those are informal, playful versions. And can you guess what the terms are used in the southern U.S. families? Some of them? Mama and...
Papa.
Or Papa, yeah, yeah. So Nana is the top choice for grandmothers nationwide. I found that hard to believe.
That
Nana.
that doesn't
doesn't sound
surprise
right.
me.
But
It doesn't
you-
surprise. What
okay.
did you call your grandmother?
I called her Nanny,
Okay.
but N-A-N-N-I-E, not like N-A-N-N-Y, like take care of me, like you have to do on vacation. It was N-A-N-N-I-E, Nanny.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, mine were just grandma.
Okay.
Both of my grandmas were grandma.
And I called my other grandma Grandma.
Yeah.
And then Papa is the most common for grandfathers.
That's what we call my dad. My kids all call my dad Papa.
Okay. So other rising names besides Grandma are Gigi,
Yes, I've heard that.
Mimi, Gran, BB,
BB?
Momo.
Oh, don't laugh. If you're listening and your grandma name is Momo, it's beautiful.
And for grandfathers, Poppy,
Yeah.
Pops, G-Pa,
Okay.
and Grandude.
Oh, I like that.
You might go home tonight and
That's
tell
right.
Andrew, hey, I've got a suggestion.
That's
I mean, because
right.
I'm sure those grown
They
children...
all call him Papa.
I doubt-
All my grandkids call Andrew Papa.
Okay. Well, Grandude is available should the 4th grandchild want
So what
to
would
use
be the female version of that?
Grandy? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll have to think about it.
I don't know. So here's the song Grandkids by Mark Bishop, dedicated to all of you grandma, grandpas, papas, nanas, mamas, papas, BBs,
Momos.
BBs and CCs. No, that's a music group.
We're going to get ourselves in trouble.
All right, here's Mark Bishop. I'm David Warren, here with some exciting news for Oasis listeners. We have a new mobile device app. It's free, easy to download, and lets you enjoy our refreshing music and talk everywhere you go. If you have an Android cell phone, go to the Google Play Store. And if you have an iPhone or iPad, visit the Apple Store and search for Oasis Radio Network. Be an Oasis ambassador and share this news with family and friends around the world. It's Therapy Day on The Road Show. I'm David Warren, here with our friend Kim Harr. Again, she is a licensed marriage and family therapist, and she's also a licensed professional counselor. And so counsel us today, Kim, with some very hot topics.
That's right. Well, let me review the first 2.5 that we did last time, just real quickly, so that people can know to go to the archives, listen to it. The very first hot topic, we mentioned emotional cutoff. And emotional cutoff is a growing trend. It is becoming very popular, especially with younger generations. And an emotional cutoff is when somebody abruptly ends a relationship very quickly, and there's very little notice, very little explanation, and the person on the receiving end doesn't have any option. It's kind of being termed as we're doing this for our mental health, but it's when boundaries are actually used as I'll say boundaries are being used as bats. And it's confusing boundaries with complete cutoffs. We also talked about, on that subject, what to do if you are on the receiving end of an emotional cutoff, kind of the do's, the don'ts. And so that was the very first topic that we covered. The second topic that we covered was overfunctioning. And overfunctioning is something that actually will lead to burnout. And I'm seeing a lot of burnout in my counseling room. And what overfunctioning is when you're doing more than your share of emotional, mental, practical responsibilities. And a lot of times it comes out of fear. It can be a fear of, if I'm not the one doing it, it won't be done right. It can be a fear of disapproval, or I don't want to let anybody down. Or it can be even a fear of conflict. So I just do it to avoid those things.
Or to have a sense of self-worth.
That's right. Right. It can very much be a sense of self-worth, because that's what our identity has been formed in, is when I do it all, people look at me, they may admire me. The only problem with that is when I'm over-functioning, it's easy for resentment to set in.
I've heard it coined as wearing busyness as a badge.
That's right. Yeah. And those are the people that you get around and you ask, how are you doing? And they begin to list all the things that they've done, they're doing. I'm so busy.
But they almost seem like they're getting joy out of telling you how busy they are.
Well, and have you ever had it where you ask somebody, how are you doing? And the first thing they say is, oh, I'm so busy. Man, I'm busy. And it's almost like you said, it's an accolade or it's a good thing. And in reality, it's actually something we need to be managing for our own mental health. We need to manage it for our emotional health. So that was the second topic, was overfunctioning. The third hot topic was boundary struggles. And that is really, it's like when we set a boundary, there are those people that have a hard time setting boundaries.
Give an example of setting a boundary.
Sure. An example of setting a boundary can be saying to, let me give you an example of a boundary I have had to set. With all of my clients, I set a boundary that says, you know what, I am not available after these hours. I don't answer my phone. I don't respond to text messages after 5 o'clock. I am not available on the weekends until the next Monday morning. And there will be most of my clients are really good about observing that, but there's always going to be somebody that comes through with a text message or, hey, can I just jump on the phone with you? Or can I just, have 5 minutes of your time? And that's a part of, honestly, I can struggle with that boundary in my head of, oh man, I need to tell them why I can't. rather than just stick to, you know what, I'm available during office hours. So we kind of get into like this over-explaining, or we get into rationalizing or justifying. So we want people to know, I'm not being mean, I'm not being rude, I really can't. And so we have to be aware of how do we set those boundaries and how do we enforce those.
Okay.
You know, on the boundaries, some of the reason it is hard for people is we as humans, we are wired for connection. And when we set boundaries, we can get into these fears of, if I set a boundary, somebody's going to think I'm selfish, or they'll think I'm mad at them, or we get very concerned about how the other people will respond to our boundaries. Another good example of setting a boundary, it may be, and let me go over a couple examples of different kinds of boundaries, because we've got time boundaries, and that may be simply saying things like, somebody asks me out to go do something, and I can say, you know what, I can't come that evening, but I can make it another night. And someone may come back and say, oh, come on, you can come. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm saying, you know what, I really can't. Thank you for asking, but I really can't come. And it's me holding to whatever it is that I've said. That's one form of boundary. Another form of boundary is, let's say somebody is talking to you disrespectfully. And you say, or they're bringing up a subject that you don't want to talk about. And you say, you know what, I really don't want to talk about that. Let's change the subject. And if they don't respect that and they continue to talk about whatever that was or talk to you in a certain way, a boundary is simply saying, you know what, if you feel the need, you have to talk about that, I have to end the conversation, or I may have to leave. And so a boundary isn't just telling the other person what they need to do or not do. It's saying what you will do if this behavior doesn't change.
So did you have to hone your boundary setting skills? Because in the early days, I would assume that you had as many challenges setting boundaries or enforcing boundaries as the people that you help on a daily basis.
Absolutely. You know, just because I'm a licensed therapist doesn't mean real life doesn't happen to me. And in my friendships, in my family, in my, being a therapist in my brain, sometimes my brain will be talking to me in slow motion and it'll say, stop, or it'll be telling me, okay, do this. This is healthy. But in that moment, I get triggered just like everybody else. And so, yes, you have to practice your boundaries. You have to hone your boundaries. And something that you have to be willing to do is you have to be willing to sit in the uncomfortable, because most people don't like a boundary being set. And I have to be okay if you act a little different, if you get quiet, if things get awkward. I have to be willing to sit in that uncomfortableness. And sometimes that's really hard.
And not be tempted to start interjecting and backpedaling because I can see I'm upsetting you.
Yes.
And so that I'm undoing the thing that took me guts to even do in the first place. And now I'm kicking myself as I leave that encounter going, I meant, what happened to me?
Well, and so what we do is we actually teach people that we don't mean what we say.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I hold to a boundary and if I say something and if I'm consistent, because with boundaries, the most important thing is to be clear, to be concise. So I don't have to go into a long explanation. I need to be concise, and then I need to be consistent. I need to do what I said I'm going to do.
What about respecting somebody who has set a boundary on me?
Yeah. I think sometimes it's easier for us to think I need to set a boundary for somebody else. And we say, be okay. They may be upset with you, but it's not your job if their feelings are hurt. But then all of a sudden, a boundary gets set on me, and I have to think, okay, wait a second, my feelings are hurt. And so I think that there's a recognizing of, am I respecting somebody else's boundary? And sometimes it's just triggering your mind to say, are they setting a boundary? Because most people don't introduce it and say, I am setting a boundary now.
Right.
They may say something like, I really don't want to talk about that. Okay, you know what? It's not going to be in blaring language, but I need to be in tune. And what is it that they're asking? And how can I be respectful even when I don't agree? Because so often we blare past other people's boundaries because we don't agree with them. One of the ways, sometimes it's like, how do I know I need to set a boundary? And one of those ways we know we need to set a boundary is if I begin to feel frustrated and resentful about something, it usually says, okay, what am I overgiving? I may not be over-functioning, but what am I overgiving? What am I saying yes to out of obligation? It may be when I'm prioritizing everybody else except me. You know what? I need to be able to prioritize myself as well. And one of the examples I use in my therapy room is I will talk about when you've got two people, it's not that the other person is more important than you, because some people are like, well, I'm just selfless. It's not that you are selfish, so I'm more important than the other person, but it's holding the mindset of my feelings, my needs, what I want, they are as important. So it doesn't mean it's more important than the other person, but it is as important. And so when we can give ourselves permission to take up that space, and it doesn't mean we're selfish when we ask for what we need.
That's beautifully put. A quote that you have in the notes that you provide for me, which I really liked, is, you said this, boundaries aren't what damage relationships. Silence does.
Right.
So what I'm interpreting that to be is me not sharing what's frustrating about you that you're doing, saying, not doing,
right.
not saying. I'm going to be better off by speaking up.
Absolutely. I want to present it in a good way. How we present what we want to say is important. And, sometimes I will encourage people to use what we call softened startups. And a softened startup may be something like, you know what, it may just be me, but this is really important. Or it may be, I don't think this was your intention, but you know what, this is how something is affecting me, and this is what I need. So I'm doing it softly so it doesn't feel like I'm attacking, I'm accusing, I'm coming against somebody. And let me ask you, who do you think the biggest boundary breakers are?
Oh, I wasn't ready for that question. The biggest boundary breakers. I'm going to say parents.
No, the biggest boundary breakers are ourselves.
Okay, I had no clue. That was
no, I love it.
I should have said grandparents.
You know what? That's a close second. That is a very close second. And honestly, I can see where sometimes my daughter will say something with her two daughters, and I think, oh, you didn't mean that. And I'll excuse it, and oh, no, I'm the grandma. And it's not intentional, but when we can recognize that's breaking boundaries, that is breaking boundaries. But even in that, when I say we are our biggest boundary breakers, it's we will put a boundary in place, but then we're not consistent with following through. It's kind of like a parent that tells a child, if you keep hitting your sibling, you're going to have to go in timeout. And they hit their sibling, and you don't put them in timeout. It's like, well, what am I teaching them? And so, and that, again, that comes out of those fears of I don't want to be mean. I don't want to seem like, I'm prideful. I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to push them away. And so we are the ones. It's like when we decide what a boundary is, we need to follow through with that.
One of the things that crossed my mind is that I think that I would give someone, let's say you crossed a boundary with me, Kim.
Okay.
But it's the first time you did it. Let's say you said something about my hair that you may, don't make fun of my, actually, I have what's called headphone hair right now.
Every time we take a picture after, it's like, let me fix my headphone hair.
But, I don't think I need to be setting boundaries the first time you do something that rubs me the wrong way. I think it needs to be something, now you can correct me because you know better than I.
Right.
It's something that's consistently happening. I think sometimes people can be oversensitive and start setting boundaries too early.
Yes. And that's even when I talk about, especially in this day and age, the word boundaries is like a hot word. And I hear people all the time saying things like, well, they crossed my boundaries. And I'll listen to what happened or what. And it's like, that didn't sound like they were crossing your boundaries. It sounded like they were asking a question. And so I think that, yeah, we want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but we also do need to know, what am I okay with? What am I not okay with? And it doesn't mean I'm setting a harsh boundary, but it may be I steer the conversation a different way, or I do something a little bit different. And I even like test the waters and see, hey, they may say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And you never have to make it a big issue.
Okay, before we take our break and move on to a new hot topic, which is unfinished business, why don't we review quickly what you would do to set a boundary? How would you do that? You called it a soft starter. So let's do one more.
A soften startup?
Soften. Is it SOFTEN, soften?
Yeah, SOFTENED, softened.
Oh, softened.
It's a softened startup.
Okay, a startup that's softer than.
Right. I am putting something out there that says, hey, our friendship means a whole lot to me. Can I talk to you about something? All right, I've already put that intention out there that you matter to me. I may say something like, I may be being extra sensitive, but this is something that really is important to me. Okay, so I'm kind of giving the other person a benefit of the doubt, and they're not putting their armor, that defensive armor up. Because if I start out and I'm saying things like, well, when you did this, it hurt me, and when you did this, all of a sudden the other person's going to feel like I'm being told I'm a really bad person. And that armor can come up. And so in a boundary that is not, they all need to be firm, but I'm not going to put a softened startup. Like, let's say that you're yelling at me and we're talking and you're yelling at me. Okay, I'm probably not, I may say, you know what, David, you may not realize that your voice is coming across really harsh to me. But to me, it feels like it's kind of like I'm being yelled at. Okay, even there, I've given you the benefit of the doubt, saying you may not realize. Now, there are people that are absolutely trying to yell at you, and that's not where I'm going to use a softened startup. That's going to be more of, I might say, I want to be in this relationship, but if I'm going to be spoken to in that way, I need to step away. Maybe I need to go in the other room. Maybe I need to go for a drive. Maybe I need to pause this relationship. Like if it's a friendship, hey, I just need to take some time because it feels like this is hurting me.
Good advice from our resident therapist. I always like to clarify, you're not actually our therapist, but you reside here in Studio B and help us all out every month.
I don't quite reside here, but...
Well, when you're here, you're here.
That's
all
right.
So we're going to take a break and pick up with a new hot topic. Again, it is unfinished business, but we're going to finish this business when we come back.
The Road Show is a listener favorite which airs each weekday here on the Oasis Radio Network starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central. The Road Show also has a great section on our website, oasisnetwork.org. There you'll find audio archives of select past interviews, plus guest lineup and contact information, and links to our Roadshow sponsors and its host. So join us for the Roadshow, whether on your radio, computer, or mobile device at oasisnetwork.org.
It's Therapy Day on the Road Show. David Warren here, and Kim Harr is with us. And I think it's a good time to mention that you have a book that we have discussed in depth and is also archived, as well as this show, which is part 2 of Hot Topics, along with part 1 in the Roadshow section of oasisnetwork.org. But the name of your book is Healing from Life's Deepest Hurts. And that book is available wherever books are sold. You also read the book on Audible, so that's on audible.com.
That's right.
And so if you like how Kim sounds, she sounds just like that, reading her book, and it's very helpful.
Thank you.
Do you think you would ever do a book on any of these topics we're discussing today?
I'm actually I've started a second book.
See, I told you that you were going to do it.
Yes. Now, it's not on the topic that you suggested. I'm like, okay, I'll save that for another one. But I'm actually doing a deeper dive. In my book, I actually talk a little bit about forgiveness, but I'm doing a deeper dive on not just about giving forgiveness to somebody, but actually how we make it living forgiveness, where it's more of a lifestyle, where I'm not taking on offenses. Many people will say things like, well, it's just a grudge. I'm not in unforgiveness. It's just a grudge. And those are actually the beginnings. So it's really almost more of a book of how do I catch these things? What are the traps I fall into? And how do I make it a lifestyle?
I assume that if you catch it early, you're not going to be affected.
That's right.
As much.
You know what? If you're checking that your heart every day, it's not going to grab a hold of you and you're not going to get into bitterness.
Okay, what's the website for more information on you and your book?
Yeah, you can go to KimberlyHaar.com, and Haar is spelled H-A-A-R.
KimberlyHaar.com, and for more information on your practice,
it's there'shopehere.com.
There'shopehere.com, which is There's Hope Counseling, based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and reaching around the world with these monthly road shows. So we're talking about some hot topics. These are things that Kim hears regularly from her clients. And so she figures that if she hears them from her clients, that you, our listening family, would have some of these same questions or issues that you would like addressed. So here's an interesting one. Number 4 out of 5, unfinished business. And you write in the notes, have you ever been left with a story that never got an ending? No apology, no explanation, no real sense of why it happened the way it did. That kind of unresolved pain can quietly live in our hearts for years. So how do you heal when the ending never comes?
Yeah. Unfinished business is really when you are carrying the weight of something that was important to you and it's just left unresolved. One example of that is when we went back to our first hot topic with emotional cutoff. A lot of times it can be unfinished business because for the person that's been cut off, many times what I hear is things like, I don't know what I did. If I knew what I did, I'd try to fix it. And so that's a little bit of the unfinished business. And that can look like you may have a relationship that suddenly ends. It may be you're dating somebody and you're ghosted, where they just quit contacting you. You're sending out a text message and you don't know if you're blocked. You look like you had something to say there.
I've lived this. I had a falling out with a friend, and I'm a kind of patch it up kind of guy.
Yeah.
And my friend, a guy, is not a patch it up. It's a
once and done. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm angry, and you crossed my boundary, let's say, or whatever I did, and we're now talking. We're fine.
Yeah.
We're fine. But it's years later, and I like resolve.
Yeah.
And I did not get resolve.
Yeah.
And I thought I can fix this if I just had an opportunity to fix this.
Yeah.
But I wasn't given that opportunity.
Yeah. And that's a hard place to be.
And it swims around in your brain like a goldfish in a bowl.
Absolutely. I had that as well. Somebody told me that they had been hurt by something I said, and they actually wanted some space from me. And my heart hurt so bad thinking that something I had said or done had hurt somebody, because that's the last thing of my intent. But sometimes we don't have the control. Just because we want an answer doesn't mean we get an answer. It can be things like feeling somebody maybe betrayed us and they never acknowledged it. So I'm waiting for this apology, but I never get it. And it's like I feel like I'm left hanging. It can be maybe a loved one that never took responsibility for something, or it's actually any situation that doesn't make sense. And our brains really, actually, I think it's Brene Brown. She's a researcher, and she talks about our brain. It's like it wants the beginning, the middle, and the end. It wants right, wrong, good guys, bad guys. It doesn't like left hanging, with the ambiguity. And so that's really, when we're talking about unfinished business, these are things that are outside of our control. Like I said, we're waiting for the apology. We're waiting for an acknowledgement, and some stories we're just never going to get what we are looking for.
So how do we make peace with that movie or relationship without an ending?
Yeah. Something that I do therapeutically, especially when it's somebody that has hurt my feelings or like hurt my client's feelings, or in the event of somebody has maybe passed away and there's this, I didn't get a chance to say goodbye, or I didn't get to mend that. Something that I recommend therapeutically is I always make sure that they know these are unsent letters. We do not send these letters. But if it's somebody that has hurt your feelings, it may be you writing a letter, and I call it the letter of truth, where I can say what I needed to say, but I never got the opportunity. So I may say, you know what, I was hurt this way. You can use as many you statements as you want, because a lot of times there's anger that comes in those letters and you didn't even realize how angry you were. And so I will have them exhaust. You write this letter, write anything you want of what you wish you could have said to that person.
Do they read it to you in the session?
They do. I have them bring it back to me, and I have them read it out loud to me, because there is an added benefit to feeling validated. That's really what we want, is we want to feel validated.
Heard.
Yes. And so
acknowledged.
Absolutely. And so I'm just sitting there receiving their letter. I'm letting them read it. I'm not telling them what they should do, what they shouldn't feel. It's like I am witnessing their pain is what I'm doing. Once that is done, and I'll make sure there's nothing else you feel like you want to say, I will have them write a letter back to themselves from the person that hurt them. And I will say, I want you to tell yourself from this person what you needed to hear, not what you think they would have said.
Right.
Because somebody may say, well, they just would have, made excuses, or this isn't what they'd say. And
or tell me what a bad person I am.
Right.
That caused them to do whatever they did.
Yeah. So I'll say, you write from that person what you needed to hear from them. And include...
That's interesting. Could you tell us how one of those turned out?
I think that I worked one time with somebody that a parent had actually passed away, and they were left really hanging with all the things that they had been hurt, they'd been abandoned, and it's all the things that they wanted to say, but they didn't have an opportunity. They could, a lot of times people think, well, I'll get around to it. I'll get around to healing. I'll get around, and then all of a sudden it's too late. And so in this instance, I had the person write a letter to that parent that had hurt them, that they felt abandoned, what they needed, and what they wanted that parent to know. And this parent had been passed away. Then I had them write a letter to themselves from the parent as what did they need? What is the accountability? What is it? It's not excuses. It is, how do I write a letter saying, you know what? I'm sorry. I hear that I hurt you. I hear that you felt these things. And is taking accountability with an amend. So it's them actually being able to say...
Kind of like, I did not know I was hurting you.
Well, sometimes they do know they're hurting. Because it may...
I could say, I'm really sorry. I see that I've hurt you, and that's not something I want to do to my child.
Well, they may say, I know I hurt you. I know I was hurting. I even intentionally hurt you because I was feeling sorry for myself, or I was doing this and it wasn't okay. It wasn't okay. What I did wasn't okay. So I am owning what I did.
What kind of results do those letters get in your clients?
Oh, man. Those kind of letters can be so powerful in that it is like people can actually feel like they can move forward, and they don't have to hold on to that. They don't have to remember it. And it can actually, in their mind, shift the relationship where I was resentful. Now, I may still feel hurt when I think about it, but it's a hurt with empathy. It's a hurt with, I wish things had been different, but it's not with a resentment of, I hate you. And so after I have them write a letter from that person, whoever has either hurt them, passed away, okay, I have them write a letter back. And in that letter, there's a amend that is asked for. And would you forgive me? Then I have the client write one more letter, and it's a letter of release. And it doesn't necessarily have to say, I forgive you. It may just, because somebody may say, hey, I just don't want to forgive. It may be saying thank you. That letter may say thank you for owning up. It may say thank you. Ideally, I would love it to say, I'm making the choice to forgive you. And if it's somebody like here that's alive, it may be, you know what? And I it's kind of like I'm going to say, you go your way, I go mine. And I hope you find what you're looking for. I hope you encounter the Lord. I hope, So it's really a goodbye letter where I am being able to put those things down.
Before we take our break and talk about the final hot topic, this caught my eye on your notes where you say that closure is not the same as healing.
That's right.
Explain that.
Yeah. Closure. Sometimes people will say, I need closure. But for closure, a lot of times that means answers. I need answers. And healing is not answers. Healing is more about peace. And so it may be more of an acceptance. Peace can come from I'm able to say what I need to and just accept, not just, finishing the business, but I'm able to actually take that to the Lord, because God does not always explain. He doesn't always finish unfinished business, but what he does is he redeems and he restores. And it can be redeeming and restoring my heart. It doesn't mean relationship, but it may be redeeming and restoring my heart, my joy, my peace.
As we go to our final break, here's a great Kim Har quote. Even when closure never comes, peace still can.
That's right.
That's great, Kim. All right, final break, and then we'll talk about the fifth and final hot topic, when you can't fix it. When you can't fix it. I have questions about that, and I will ask those after this.
All right.
I'm David Warren, Program Director at Oasis Radio Network and one of the hosts of this podcast. All of our hosts enjoy hearing from you, our listening family, so drop us a note. Our email address is roadshow@oasisnetwork.org. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and you'll receive new episodes on your mobile devices. And now, back to the show. Well, these are some very hot topics we are discussing today. We had to turn up the air conditioner a little bit. They're so hot. Hardy har har. That's my Hardy har har story. By the way, this program is archived along with part 1 of Hot Topics, which are really common issues in therapy today and common issues that Kim deals with on a daily and weekly basis. So parts 1 and 2 archived in the Roadshow section of oasisnetwork.org. Okay, so hot topic number 5. During the break, let me back up just a second. During the break, you mentioned that the hot topic that I most relate to is number 2, which is overfunctioning.
That's right.
And you said that you most relate to hot topic number 5, when you can't fix it.
That's
What
right.
is that, and why do you relate to this so well?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned when we were talking about the overfunctioning, you mentioned that sometimes people overfunction because it's tied to their worth.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the same thing with the fixer, because we grow up and we really have our roles in our families, and the fixer tends to be more of the peacemaker, the checking in with the family dynamics. I'm the one that's going to adjust to make sure everything is calm and peaceful and everybody's happy. And so it really, I think a lot of times it originates in our childhoods, and it does get tied to our worth, because when you fix it, people appreciate it. And you get this reputation. And of course, look at the business I'm in. I grew up, I told my parents the other day, I had this aha moment. And that was, I'm 59. And when I was born, my mom and dad had actually had a baby, a little girl, and she passed away at birth. And I was like the rainbow baby. I was the one they had right after, like almost 9 months later, maybe 10 months later, I was born. And I realized that when I was born, I was already born as a part of healing and fixing grieving hearts. My parents had been grieving. They had been sad. And I brought the joy, because they had a baby. And all throughout my life, my parents will say things like, I was always looking out for other people because I was so in tune to other people's pain. I didn't want other people to hurt. I would, on the playground, I'd say, hey, if I wanted to, go down the slide, If I saw a kid that was standing there, I'd say, no, you go. And so the fixer, it's almost another word for a fixer can honestly, sometimes an extreme fixer can be a codependent, which simply means I'm only okay if you're okay. And if you're not okay, I need to make you okay so I can be okay, because your pain hurts my heart. And it's like I am affected by other people. And so when I was talking and I sent you the introduction for this hot topic, I just said, have you ever watched someone you love go through something painful and felt completely helpless because you couldn't make it better? Maybe it's your child, your spouse, or someone close to you. When their heart hurts, your heart hurts too. What does it mean to love someone well when you can't fix what they're going through? And so when I use that word codependency, it's this urge to fix. And I think it really resonates with many parents and grandparents because when we see our kids hurting, it hurts us when we see them hurting. And we can make the mistake of swooping in to, the intent is good. I don't want them to hurt, but I take the consequences for them. And so really, I'm hurting them more because they're never learning to do these things on their own.
They're not growing.
And most of the time, people aren't really asking to be fixed. And so we feel this pressure, I need to change this. If you're sad, how can I cheer you up? How can I'm going to bring you something, from Starbucks. I'm going to tell you a funny joke. I'm going to tell you, oh, you know what, I'm here.
Is this a mom thing?
I think it's a big time mom thing, but it's a dad thing. It's a grandparent thing. I think it's a friend thing. I have a friend that's hurting right now. And my heart is like, I can recognize if I am not aware, my mind can be thinking about, oh man, how could I do something? How could I help them?
Which sounds very noble.
Yes, and it can be, but it's the balance. And sometimes fixing can be all or nothing because there are times we want to offer a helping hand. But a helping hand is different than a handout. And it's different than me saying, well, I'm just going to fix this.
I say thank God for the Holy Ghost, because that's where the Holy Spirit can really be a part of determining you need to help this person as an act of Christian charity, or that speaking to you of the Lord saying, I'm not asking you to get involved here.
That's right.
This is your flesh on repeat.
Yep. I heard Susie Eller, the author, say one time that the Lord told her to take like chalk. She was outside maybe with her grandkids, and she drew a circle around her feet. And it was a reminder of, this is what is mine to carry. This is my responsibility, my actions, my reactions, my choices, my decisions. It's the only thing I can control. And so when we get into fixing things, too often we try to control somebody else's reactions, behaviors, decisions, and swoop in. And if we see somebody hurting, it can affect our bodies. It's like, I'll give you a really good example. And again, like I said, this is when I still have to manage with my children. Because if I see, my daughter called me one time and she was like upset about something, and she'd had like a fight with a friend, and I'm getting triangulated in it for her, and I'm saying, oh, and I'm talking to her, and she was really upset. And so we get off the phone, and I'm just still holding that, and I'm carrying that, and I'm thinking, man, she's hurting. I hate it that my kid's hurting. And I go through the weekend, and the next time she calls me, it's like, oh, I forgot about that a long time ago. And I was still holding it. And so that's the part of not holding what's not ours to hold. And recognizing that people don't need fixing. When people come to me for counseling, it's not about fixing. Really, a big part of counseling is the therapeutic relationship that heals. And there's a part of having a safe place for somebody to say things they've maybe never said before. It's a place where they can say, I'm not okay. And it's not coming back and saying, well, let me help make you okay.
As we get ready to close, I want to read one more Kim Har quote. You should start another book or write one just of your quotes. You say, your loving presence often does more than any solution that you would offer ever could.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the gift of silence. Sometimes it's just saying, I'm here and I'm witnessing your pain. You're not walking through it alone. And when we do that, it is actually, we are honoring, because that's what God does to us. He says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'm with you. God gives us his presence.
What advice do you have for that person to just listen and take it in versus going into fix-it mode?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that sometimes can be helpful is when somebody is sharing something with you, asking them at the very beginning, saying, you know what is it that you're needing from me right now? Do you need me to listen? Are you asking for solutions? Are you just needing to vent?
Great.
So you're already setting yourself up for that. So you're telling your brain, I don't have to fix this.
That's great advice. Say that again before we go.
Yeah, it's ask the other person that is coming and talking to you, how can I best show up for you? Do you need me just to listen? Do you need me to just be a place for you to vent? Or are you asking for advice? And then honor those, because that's a boundary.
All right. So if somebody thinks that he or she could use some therapy help, where can he or she go?
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of places. One is if you're in Oklahoma, you can go to my website and you can contact me and see if I've got openings availabilities. Right now, I'm actually booked for several months. But you can go to, I like to refer focusonthefamily.com. They vet their therapists so that you already know anybody you get from there is going to have beliefs that are in line with Focus on the Family. The other one is the American Association of Christian Counselors. AACC.net is another good place to get some counselors.
All right. What is your website?
My website is there'shopehere.com.
Okay. And again, the name of your new book is?
Healing from Life's Deepest Hurts, Reclaiming Your Life After Grief, Loss, or Trauma.
Available wherever books are sold, including the website audible.com. And for more information on our friend, Kim Harr, you can go to KimberlyHaar.com. That's KimberlyHaar.com. What a great hour we had today, Kim.
Oh, I love being here, David.
All right, we'll be back next month with more great therapy from Kim Harr. Well, for Kim, I'm David Warren, and it's been another great Roadshow. You've been listening to The Roadshow. If you'd like to write to us, here's our address. The Roadshow, P.O. Box 1924, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74101. Our email address is roadshow@oasisnetwork.org. The views of today's guest aren't necessarily those of this station, but we do appreciate and thank our guest for spending this time with us. The Roadshow, an Oasis Network presentation.